Greetings, fellow sinners. I am called Goodman John, and today I am forced to review one of the most fell pieces of heresy that have ever befallen mine ears. 'Tis not my wish, I assure you, to ever look at such horrific garbage as this. Yet unfortunately I did recently look upon the leg of a table with what I confess was lustful intent, and rather than ordering me to beat myself as I should have wished, Minister Winter hath ordered me to review this foul piece of a song, seeking to educate you all as to the horrors that lie within it. Well, let us delay no longer, friends. Let us look at Grace Got You by MercyMe. First, what sort of a title is this? Grace Got You. It sounds as though a small child did pronounce it, like, "Oh, Grace got you." Yet unfortunately, friends, we shall never again reach the intellectual heights of a small child, and instead shall dwell in the basement of intelligence next to Pope Leo X. Now, perhaps the foolish crusader, for let us be honest, only a Catholic would defend this song, might say that the title is meant to imply that grace doth hold us and preserve us, much as an adulterer is held in the soft, supple arms of her lover. Now, some of you might think I am being too much like Charles in losing my head over the title of this song. However, I say to you that this song is heresy, for it is God, not grace, that doth possess us, even as a loose woman is possessed by her animalistic and sinful nature.
Goodman John, you're being sexist again.
What you call sexism, I call wisdom in not being seduced by the foul charms of the seductress, even as Samson was seduced by Delilah.
Goodman John, has any woman even tried to seduce you?
Of course. Many women have.
Like who?
You don't know them. They go to a different parish. Well, enough with the foolish title of this work. Let us extend to MercyMe the same grace that was extended to us by Christ, though we were in need of damnation, and say they simply could not come up with a good title for this song. Let us see how the song itself fares.
Have you ever...
Right away we see a major problem with the song, as it contains music and singing, which are of course of the beast, and are meant to distract us from the beauty of God and his words. Yet, let us extend more grace to MercyMe, and look at the lyrics. Perhaps they shall be less heretical.
Have you ever met those who keep humming when the song's through?
I have. A fellow named Dunstan. He was summarily beaten at the scaffold for his crime of distracting others from the greatness of the Lord.
They're living life to a whole different tune.
Aye, a tune of sin. They too must be beaten at the scaffold until they return to the fold of God.
And have you ever met those that keep hoping when it's hopeless?
Yes, I believe these people are referred to as fools. Now you might be thinking they are fools for hoping when it is hopeless, but it is in fact because they think it is hopeless that they are fools, for we always have hope when we have the good Lord on our side, who hath delivered us from our sins, though we were in need of fiery damnation.
They figured out what the rest haven't yet.
Hey, it takes some of us many years to learn to be annoying imbeciles who hum heretical songs and believe heretical concepts. When do we get to the part of the song where these people have scarlet letters sewn to their chest and are summarily beaten?
The second you realize what you have inside.
The only thing we have inside is sin. Horrible, corrupting sin. And if this song means to imply that we are in any way responsible for the salvation we receive from God, then it doth profane the name of the Lord and Christ's death upon the cross. But tell me, O MercyMe, what are we to do when we realize what we have inside of us?
So the back row is your
No!
pride, 'cause walking just won't do.
Pride? As in fly? As in what the servants of the Prince of the Air do? This song now advocates for witchcraft? The gallows are too good for this. Only the stake will do.
You don't have to know how to.
Well, you shouldn't know how to unless you want to get pulled into the fires below.
Ever since grace got you.
Alright, this line doth not even conform to reason. Grace got you is past tense, so if you're going to follow that up with it, it should also be something in the past, such as how our lives have changed ever since grace got us, like, ever since grace got you, you have no longer lain with sheep. Yet instead, the song follows this up with an imperative command, saying we are to laugh, which most certainly will not be happening, as I would rather die than laugh. If it went, ever since grace got you, you have laughed, it would at least make grammatical if not theological sense, but as it is, it makes no sense. It's just a random injection of grace got you into the song. Did they think I'd forgotten the name of the song I was listening to? I can't forget the name of such a horrid heresy as this! Mercy me! Grace got you also concludes the chorus. I suppose they were just so proud of their wondrous title, they just had to repeat it as much as possible, in the hopes that eventually people would find it clever. Yet, to backtrack for a moment, let us listen to the preceding verses in the chorus. So they wish us to smile as though we got away with something, implying that the joy in grace is equivalent to the joy in committing a sin? The song is implying that the grace of God is equivalent to the wonders of sin? Pure Catholicism.
Hey, Goodman John.
What?
You know what would be really funny?
I do not care for the funny.
Okay, but hear me out. What if we got a woman named Grace, and she comes in and grabs you, and then I say, "Oh, it looks like Grace got you, Goodman John."
How dare you put such a sensual image in my mind? I must beat myself now to purify these impure thoughts. In any event, why should we smile like we just got away with something?
You just got away with something.
How clever. This line again is followed up by another grace got you, so therefore the preceding line should be changed to you have gotten away with something, or you have been getting away with something ever since grace got you. But no, instead we continue with the poor grammar, as is somewhat tradition for MercyMe at this point. Thou might say I am picking at nits by going after the grammar of this song. Yet I say unto you, language is the domain of the Lord, and therefore when one doth profane language, as MercyMe does here, one doth indeed profane the name of the Lord. Thus when you children these days, to have your little text messages and your anagrams, you do go against God, and are deserving of punishment. Yet, even excusing such semantical concerns, for these are certainly dwarfed by the heresy contained in the chorus gives a completely false portrayal of the grace of God, for it implies that once we are taken into the Christian fold, we will laugh and smile and sing and dance and la. What a false and disgustingly heretical portrayal of the grace of God. This reduces the power of the grace of God down to the effects of an amusing puppet show or a draught from a bottle of whiskey. Not that I know what a draught from a bottle of whiskey does to a man. I mean, I know on a theoretical level, but not practically. The point being that the song presents grace as a nice, old, cheery, happy thing that'll make life all la-da-da-da-da for you.
Hey, Goodman John. Did you just sing?
In any case, the song stenches of the stink of the Dark One. Beginning a relationship with Christ does not mean you will simply be bouncing through life with giddy abandon like a foolish rabbit. It means following Christ's example, which, as you will recall, involved being brutally murdered on a cross. In fact, there is a bit of a verse that goes, "Take up your cross and follow me." But it seems such things as biblical texts have completely slipped MercyMe's mind when it comes to their depiction of grace, and they are more content to simply depict it as a wondery, happy thing filled with sunshines and rainbows, rather than depict the harsh reality that being a true follower of Christ doth entail. Now some of you might be thinking, "Well, Goodman John, you shouldn't be talking bad about this song, 'cause it's about Jesus." To which I say to you, the song does not talk about Jesus, but a false portrayal of Jesus and his teachings with regards to grace. Imagine, if you will, if someone heard the song who had little to no knowledge of grace or Jesus. They would think, "Oh, this sounds wondrous, I shall do that now." And then when they realize there is actual challenge involved in being a follower of Christ, they will of course fall away, as the shallow-soiled plants do in the parable of the sower. And it is not the duty of Christian art to encourage such as that. Christian art, indeed, has an absolute standard to meet with its portrayal of the themes of Christianity. So in a sense it shall always fail after a fashion, but I say to you that the achievable standard for Christian art is certainly much higher than this pathetic heresy of a song. Yet I have gotten away from the song itself. Let us proceed to the second verse. What?
So when you're standing in the rain again, you might as well be dancing.
Why would I stand in the rain? We invented houses to prevent that. And I certainly shall not profane the ground by dancing upon it.
'Cause the rain on storm that can change how this is.
That was all right. Perhaps the song is turning things around.
So next time when you feel blue, don't let that smile leave you.
Ah, yes, back to normal, I see. Yes, when you are feeling sad, don't seek to actually deal with your problems or take them before the Lord. Simply smile and ignore them. Live in complete ignorance is what this song is advocating, and then you shall be happy. Though admittedly MercyMe does practice what they preach, as they live in complete ignorance and do seem to be relatively happy. But to say that this is the good way a Christian should act, abominable. In any event, the song goes into the chorus again, which is the same as the first time, with the exception of 2 added lines.
Ever since, Grace got you. Grace got you.
How wildly creative. I can certainly see why there was a need to add those, as I had completely forgotten what song I was listening to, and what had got me. I thought the plague had gotten me, but no, it was simply MercyMe, so much, much worse. The third stanza of verses then begins.
Got away with something bubbling inside of you.
Again, heretical, again, bad grammar. Though, admittedly, this one contains a bit of truth, as there is something indeed bubbling, even seething inside of me at this moment.
Feeling over 'cause your life is full. How incredible, undeniable, monumental like the Eiffel.
Huh? What's an Eiffel?
It's a pointy building in France.
Comparing the work of man, the works of God? There were people who tried to do that once. They built a little structure, you may have heard of it, the Tower of Babel, and they were cursed with being unable to speak to each other. I can only hope that MercyMe receives a similar curse, so at least then I won't be able to understand what they're saying anymore.
Uncontrollable, let the joy flow through. Ha ha. Giddy over pity, pretty, please let me see your hands in the air with you at your seats. Warm
No.
it up, let go, shout it out, celebrate.
What up? The brand? Aye, no objections from me on that front.
Articulate, just say amazing grace.
If I cannot articulate, I cannot say amazing grace. That has at least 4 syllables in it. Again, this verse is very much like the chorus. It makes Christianity seem all bubbly and happy, yet in the end just descends into the very depths of heresy. Not to mention being rather desperate. Well, you see, MercyMe knows that no one will actually be singing and clapping and waving during their songs, so they must ask for it, begging the politeness of the audience to provide such things for them. It is simply pathetic. Even as a politician, asking for applause would be considered a waste, a big fat mess even. And it simply is another desperate move on MercyMe's part. Now, you might be thinking, well, maybe they wanted those towards Jesus. Which I say to you, Jesus does not need you flailing about like an epileptic, so sit down and shut up!
Hey, Goodman John.
Shut up! In any event, we've arrived mercifully at the end of this song, which is another repetition of the chorus, because it was just so wondrous the first 2 times. Though, to be fair to MercyMe, the chorus does have a few lines added to the end, which are the best part of the song. So let's give them a listen. Now you might be thinking, how is some foolish singer going, yeah, 27,000 times the best part of the song? To which I say to you, this part of the song is meaningless, absolute rubbish, and complete tripe. But it is not actually heretical, actively so at least, so I'll give it a mild pass and say it's the best part of the song, though it is still terrible. And in this fashion, the song mercifully ends, much like a sick infant finally succumbing to the effects of the plague. This song is musically uninspired, filled with horrible grammar, is rife with heresy and reeks of desperation. Not to mention it completely lowers the bar for what can pass as Christian art. Yet, I shall give credit where credit is due. The song does have one major positive to it. For in looking at the recent Billboard charts, I have observed that this song is near the top of them, which does reaffirm my belief in the fallenness of the world. So, thank you for that at least, MercyMe. Overall, if you listen to this song, you're in need of a good 12 lashings. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must begin mine. Ugh.